Hey, this is David. Just want to go through some of my recent posts stuff. So I'm going to share this on Facebook. I'll do that. Well, this right here. Say, for instance, you have a family of four, family vacation, traveling down the freeway at a high rate of speed. Son in the back has his father driving. Are we almost there yet? I have to go to the bathroom. Father in the front seat says, "Not now, damn it!" Screech. There's the original. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. I spent my whole stimulus package on YouTube Premium, so I wouldn't have to watch ads. This video is sponsored by whatever that was.
Now let's see what happens when you're driving with the other guy's brake pads. You're driving along.
Driving along,
I
we're doing it.
gotta go to the bathroom, Daddy. Not now, damn it.
Not now, damn it.
I can't.
The brakes are out.
Help!
Anyway. Okay, I'm not sure. Gone live. Movie plots on Wikipedia. With David. Wikipedia. With David. Oh no. And then before that, though, I want to show Colbert, brother Colbert. Bruh, you took my whole act. This was a bit from yesterday, and it's my whole act on what I'm doing.
The Cuban Missile Crisis wasn't solved by the Beverly Hillbillies. Khrushchev has installed missiles out by the cement pond.
Well,
Doggy, might
doggy.
be time for a blockade. Want me to do what now, Penultimo?
That's on my YouTube video. Amerigo goes to Cuba. Oh, let me go through this slideshow. This is the best site for slideshows. I mean, when I find a good slideshow information I'm looking for, it takes like 5-10 seconds just to load each image, and there's all this stuff all over the place. From Maryland to marinara, origins and nicknames, naming, from the continents to condiments, naming these things for dummies. Americo Vespucci, PhD and founder of America. Okay. That's the boat, the Amerigo Vespucci boat, and a coin. Anyway, looks like he's wearing a chef's hat. I don't know what that is. And this is Latin. So, oh, there's a lot more too. So when people say something like that, that's what. This is like, no, like this is really. This is my continent. That's an Italian restaurant. This is marinara sauce. And it's like Maryland. This is the flag of Maryland. This is the coin and the ship. the Americas. Oh, look. It's like, how did we get here? Okay, here's one more. Self-depreciating joke. Like most of my YouTube videos, even some that have hundreds of views, they're all mine. I watch my videos hundreds of times. Some of them. Okay, so let's get into that. Okay, so this is the two best known lists are the National Film Registry and then the Library of Congress archives certain movies that are deemed culturally significant, historically significant. Most people know that the top two movies of all time are going to be Citizen Kane and Casablanca and Gone with the Wind, and that's been for a long time. So, okay, so this is a list of just 1940 and 42 that I found just searching. I'll show this picture. I think the picture is all the way at the bottom. But so I want to try to go through reading some of these plots. Maybe sort of guessing what the movie's going to be about, what the characters is going to happen to them. There's actual places to bet on how TV shows are going to play out, how movies are going to play out. Like, from what I hear, it's like scripts are so secret because people bet on what's going to happen to the characters. Just from looking at a movie poster or just the title of a movie, you know, it's the big idea. It's usually just 2 or 3 words. The whole movie in just 2 or 3 words. And so it's an idea. It's not like a real thing. It's just a concept. It's just imaginary. And then, so some movies like On the Waterfront that was archived in 1988 by the Library of Congress for being culturally or historically significant is because, well, not is because, but lots of movies since then have just taken the same idea, but I mean it was an idea in the first place. So they're just ideas, and then this is from I just typed into Google movies 1940, and then so I just started listing them out, and so here's the plot on Wikipedia. This would take hours and hours and hours and hours and hours to watch all these, and maybe I'll just go through the list and see the ideas first. I think everybody knows the Grapes of Wrath, the idea of that, the Great Depression. Edison the man. A lot of stuff was made about Edison because he was like the first filmmaker in the National Film Registry. A lot of his stuff is there, so Menlo Park is where Facebook headquarters is. Enabling, so he opened his laboratory in Menlo Park, okay, so that makes sense. Unless this is just a movie, I don't know. That might have happened, I don't know. So apparently this one is a remake or something. The whole idea of this is that a lot of the stuff that's going on right now, even real documentaries that are real people and it's not fiction, even they're sort of reacting out a lot of these. And anyway, New Moon, I mean, when I tried to find this stuff, when I was looking for the plot of this, all it would pull up is Twilight. So anyone who's living out or trying to reenact what they... I've never seen these movies or read the book, so I don't know, but a lot of people probably have and are. But this new moon, that's what one of the Twilights was called. And I wouldn't have known that unless I'd been looking for this plot. Let's just see. So a lot of the public figures, public images get inherited and disinherited and passed on through the centuries. So James Monroe and James, anyways, two of the earliest presidents, I think the fourth and fifth, James Monroe and James something, I don't know. Anyways, so so I guess it was called a stage version when they would have a Broadway play, operetta. I've never heard of something like that. Okay, so I mean I know what the idea of this story right here. I know where that ended up. And people were just talking about it in the news yesterday. Okay. Anyway, if I'm not mistaken, there's a zombie thing. Ahem. So this Santa Fe Trail is a real thing, apparently, because I think I thought that this was supposed to be the plot, but apparently it's some sort of a real thing. I don't really have a comment on that. I've seen some funny maps from this era, and it's called like Land of the Bigfoot, stuff like Beware Bigfoot here and stuff like that. So what I said here, this list arbitrarily starts at 1940. A better place to start would be 1939. So going in further back gives a better clarity. Things are more concise, and as like going along in the historical, chronologically ordered timeline, things get more and more blurry. Like language itself and words are created to be deceiving. They're not supposed to create clarity. Words like make things more blurry. So it'd be better to go back to 1930 or 20. I want to try to list all the movies, all the way up to at least 2000. Said I'm making other lists too. The main reason is to try to soak up the entire culture and absorb it like a sponge without having to just sit there and watch movies all day. Imagine trying to watch every movie on Netflix or something, or read every post on Facebook. For example, this post right here is post 10 trillion. Some 10 trillion something. There's 10 trillion posts on Facebook. And, you know, it's mostly just filler and people retweeting and retweeting other people's memes. And the stuff is unnecessarily expanded. So we could take like a 3-word idea and expand it into something that's 2 hours long and costs millions of dollars, and people, you know, if something is 2 hours and 10 million people watch the thing, that's a lot of man hours. I mean, and you know, if 100 people are working on a movie, even though the movie's only 2 hours, you know, it probably took like 500 hours and 100 people. So, I'll talk about the origin of the name Hollywood. It's from a place in Virginia, where also some James Monroe, here we see again, James River, but there's another president with James, it's James Madison. James Madison and James Monroe. So people like Michael Jackson and Michael Jordan inherited the public figure of these two presidents right here. For example, James Monroe was the Democratic Republican Party. What is something like a Democratic Republican Party? They're just titles. They're just names. So, I mean, you know, is it actually donkeys and elephants? I don't think so. They're just names. So, anyway, there's a mass grave here of hundreds of Confederate soldiers buried in one plot, and that's why people don't ever talk about it. So it was founded in, pardon me, 1849. That was like 100 years, nearly 100 years before the golden era of Hollywood, the city in California. So I make the distinction between textbooks and Facebooks. You know, it's like a picture book. It's like a coloring book compared to a textbook. Even though words are deceiving, pictures, animations, I don't know. Maybe they're more clear, maybe not. I don't know. But it's just less distracting to see a text list of what's going on. I tried to find a version of Facebook that was only text and no pictures, and it would be like, here's a picture of, you know, your friendly friend and doing blah blah blah. It's like, I don't even want to see the picture, but like I'll read the word of it. But there's nothing like that. And so it's like comparing just reading a list of friends' names rather than seeing a collage of familiar friendly faces. It's just like, I don't, it's hard to explain. It's just social media. But, movies are more entertaining and stimulating, but the problem is there's a lot less comprehending going on. People are just looking at the people and not really considering the idea of the movie. Eddie Murphy made a joke about that, how they have to make all the phone numbers 555, blah, 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 so that people don't call and be like, yeah, I'm looking for Indiana Jones. Like, no, man, it's an idea. Indiana Jones is an idea. Harrison Ford is not Indiana Jones. It's just an idea. So, I started this project in 2017. I said, how am I going to take down Hollywood financially? And I said, people, you know, I've been reading these plots on Wikipedia, and it's, not only is it free, but it only takes 1 minute to see the big idea, what happens to the characters and everything. That movie critics, like the thumbs up guys, always leave out the specifics of a plot. And I read some science journals that said when people are told the spoilers of what happens in the movie beforehand, and they already know what's going to happen, they can appreciate the artistry of the story more. And so it's a controversial thing. I mean, would you rather watch something and experience it without knowing what's going to happen, or would you rather know what's going to happen? You know, it's a big debate, but I lean towards the side of spoiling is actually not a bad thing. So here's the project I started in 2017. Just copy and paste. I said, you know what, I could do this all day. I'll just copy and paste the plots in Wikipedia, and it says it's like the 7-minute abs. Like I'm doing the 1-minute abs, even though I called it 7 minutes. You get this whole movie in 7 minutes. Or, in just 1 minute, you can see this whole plot. So this is the whole plot of the movie in just 1 minute. And that's exactly what I'm still doing here. That was the only one that I made. It was just a prototype. So other lists that are good to read are the New York Times bestsellers, and then check the plot on Wikipedia. And even books are better than reading them. It's like, how long is it going to take somebody to read one book? A long time. And so it's a lot easier to just read the plot on Wikipedia. And so I want to make a list of celebrities I'm following, and not in a list like, oh, I just like this on Facebook or whatever. It used to be called being a fan before they changed it to like. There used to be no what's on your mind prompter. That's a different subject, but I'll make a list of celebrities who have gone silent or not. Because a lot of them have just stopped talking altogether. Gone dark, is what it's called. So the third one, this is the real bread and butter. Whole album and lyrics on one page, one web page. So it's like you can sit there and listen to 45 minutes worth of music, or you can just read it in about 2 to 3 minutes. You just read the text, all the lyrics. TV series and video games, plus some Wikipedia. Okay, so that was just 1940 from Google. And then I went to Wikipedia. Or, no. This was still on Google searching. It's fun to go through every year. I think the first year I ever searched was 64, 65. And a lot of these movies are forgotten. There's just a lot of stuff that happened in the 80s, all these previous decades, that are well known by the elders of our world, but are just completely forgotten. Nobody from newer generations, Generation X and Millennials and Generation Z, they've never heard of, for instance, Vanity, a musician, who was in the news in the 80s and the 90s and then sort of dropped off the radar. She went dark. And even though everybody knew about her in the 80s and 90s, nobody's talked about her since. So she's a good example of that. Another good example would be, I don't know, but... Okay, so here's 1941. This was just from Google. So I've heard Sergeant York, heard of that, I don't know where. So apparently this was the first Superman. And I think it's called Cape Stuff, something such as that. So here and I would just imagine most people have not seen this. Maybe people who go to the conventions might have, but I've never even heard of that. So everybody's seen Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. So that is a movie from the 90s about a giant alligator. Well, I just don't know what to say about that. This might have been like a self-development. Sounds like a self-development. Why you'll never get rich. It sounds like a self-help, self-development book. Let's see what it says at the top. Exciting loveliness and rhythm in a star-spangled army musical. So I think even the magazine gets its name from not just this movie, but this one. There's two of these movies in the same year. So the customers who supported that magazine with a similar name had all likely seen those two movies in the 60s, which was 20 years later. Wow, there's one with my initials. I don't know if I'd want that poster. Here's zombies. People think that the first zombie movie was Night of the Living Dead in the 60s, but here's one 20 years before. And it has zombies, the king of the zombies. And the coolest thing is that all of these are on YouTube. Like most of these on this entire list are just for complete free on YouTube. So all the zombies come back to life and become human again, released from a doctor's spell. That's the idea of zombies. This one right here was used as propaganda to this preceded "We Can Do It" poster. Let's go collegiate. This was supposed to anger young men of college age and military age. And this plot is still playing out, well, up until a couple months ago. let's go collegiate. Like, um, I don't know, like, win the championship. Do it for state anyway. So in the golden era of Hollywood, they spared no expense compared to today. Where, I mean, imagine how much money they spend, or it would cost to make something that of this quality with just a smartphone. And there's even a website that has video editing. Just go to the website. You don't have to have a video editor. It's just on the website. Hopefully I remember to find that link. So here's how you can condense a 2-hour movie into just one man trying to convince his friends. They're like, "Are you okay, Tony? Are you okay?"
Okay. Okay. Mama says you okay? Okay. 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 It's okay. Well, Mama's okay. 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 Okay, Mama. Okay. Okay. No, that's okay. Okay? Okay, boss. Okay? Okay. Okay, that's okay. Okay? Okay. Okay, Mel. Okay. 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 That's okay. 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 Bonus. Okay.
Yankee.
Okay. Okay. Bonus. Okay.
Right there, the TM, Tony Montana, that looks almost exactly like the New York Yankees. Anyway, so even says, so a Cuban American man new to the USA convincingly tells his friends that he's okay with increasing frustration for 2 hours, leading his friends to believe that maybe he's not okay, actually. Maybe they could have just, been like, "Tony, are you okay?" Okay. No, really, are you okay? I mean, the whole movie would have been different. And that is from Beyond the Waterfront, the scene when they're sitting in the back of the cab, and Marlon Brando and the other guy, I don't know if I'm right about this, but he's like, okay. And that was 30 years before they made this movie, Scarface. So. Alright, so that was 1940 and 1941. This is 1942. So we saw Citizen Kane, Casablanca, and Gone with the Wind, I think. But then there's also all these other ones. Gentleman Jem, that was the nickname of a musician, Jem Reeves, famous in the late 50s and early 60s. And like, the spoilers, so I'm talking about that. Scientifically, everybody's wrong. 99 or even maybe 100 out of 100 people don't realize that they should be telling people what happens in the story. So what does that mean? Spoilers. Tremendous adventure. It says something at the bottom there. No, it doesn't. Spoilers. I have no idea what that means. and a plot forms. That's what it says right here. And a plot at the top right. And a plot forms. I don't know why why is this called the spoilers? Okay, it was a Rex Beach novel of the same name. It was first made into a film in 1914. Oh, come on. Sent from my iPad. Apparently, the only people that are not only people who are still working at call centers are people making phone calls. I don't want to read about that book. But if I don't right now, I probably never will. Okay, so from 1984, it must be. There's a movie with this name right here. Top left. This is the same title of Jim Cramer's stock market show at the top. This seems to be a gold mine right here. And that's what this story apparently is. The only one with a link. This one's about a gold mine. This author seems to be a gold mine. That is a pretty cool looking cover, I'd say. Based on a true story. Montana. Okay, sent from my iPad.